Good day, and welcome to the premiere edition of Good Notes. My name is Ken Olsen. I'll be your host, and our show will be featuring musicians, some music, some stories, and our guest today is Mr. Jeff Plankenhorn, and he's going to do a song, Alone at Sea, to open it up.
Tugboat, fisher boat, sailboat, yacht, freighter, dory, skiff or barge, where are you going? Where have you been? Can I hitch a ride and see my story begin? I really wanna go out on the ocean. I really wanna find a little island. I really wanna fare my days alone, 'cause I'm oh so tired. Sunlight shine on a snow-white sail. Cool breeze, warm winds never fail. When all is said and done, I still should have a little fun. But who will you leave behind you when you run? I really wanna go out on the ocean. I really wanna find a little island. I really wanna fare my days alone, 'cause I've grown so tired. I really wanna dream the dreams of angels, find something better in the in-between. I really wanna be okay, being alone at sea. We text so hard, there's no time to play. Then we drift so hard, I don't make time to say I love you, or at least not the way I should. But when will we find out all is already good? Yeah, I really wanna go out on the ocean. I really wanna find a little island. I really wanna fare my days alone, 'cause I'm oh so tired. I really wanna dream the dreams of angels, find something better at the in-between. I really wanna be okay, being alone at sea. Tugboat, fisher boat, sailboat, yacht.
That was great. Thank you, Jeff.
My pleasure.
So, tell us a little bit about you, Jeff, your beginnings, your humble beginnings, and your journey on to get here.
Yeah, they were definitely humble. My journey from, outside of Columbus, Ohio, in Mansfield. I started singing in church when I was 7. I was a little bit of a freak of nature. I was a boy soprano who could sing really high in tune. And so by the time I was 10, I had done a few national anthems at Cleveland Indians and Phillies games, and did all that. When my voice changed, I started playing guitar. And so really, I started at 10, I got serious about it at 12. And, did the whole fingers bleed, mom banging on the door going, "It sounds like someone's dying in there," I know you know how to play something pretty, as I practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced for hours and forgot to eat.
Were you playing electric guitar at that time, loud? And
No, not out. I didn't really start playing out until high school. Of course, I did all sorts of music-related things. And then I went to school for a few years at the University of Michigan, which of course was very interesting with Ohio family at game time. Ohio, Michigan is one of the bigger rivalries, so that was always interesting. But and then I started playing in college. I did just everything I could get my fingers on. Growing up there, a lot of Stevie Wonder's probably my biggest musical influence. You might not hear it, but that's what I listen to when I want to go to that good place. I remember being 4 years old and sitting in front of the speaker, on the floor, and the Green Marantz dial on our radio, listening to songs like Sir Duke and I Wish, because that record had just come out, Songs in the Key of Life. It's a big part of why I started playing music. And from there, I did a year in Nashville, and I like to say I did my time in Nashville for a year, playing like one mic bluegrass, and then I went to Texas, and I stayed there for 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
And so from Texas, you're here.
Yeah. How did I get here from Texas?
How did you get here from Texas?
Well, let's see. I spent 16 years as a side person. I moved to Texas at the urging of a guy named Ray Wiley Hubbard. And I drove to Texas with 2 guitars, slide guitars, kind of like this one, and a Geo Prism, if you remember what that kind of car was, the pretty junky little car, and $100 when I got there. And I lived with Ray and his wife Judy and their son Lucas, who was 6 at the time and now is married, just turned 30, and plays guitar for Ray. He also helped me buy this guitar, which is another story. But once I moved there, the work for a slide guitar player, I was in demand, because people would bring me, if they were a solo singer-songwriter, and I would just play a little for a solo, and it wasn't just the typical notey guitar player who played too much. Mm-hmm. So people really loved the vocal sound of slide guitar, and so I got tons of work. And for 16 years, I did side work. And then I decided to go solo. But how I ended up here is I was playing with a rock band with a guy named Bob Schneider, and I was in Seattle. And
he's from Austin, isn't he?
He's from Austin, yeah. But we were in Seattle, I think at the Triple Door, and this beautiful lady from Campbell River came up to me and said, "Would you like to take a walk?" And I was like, "Yes," because I wouldn't have gone up to her. And we dated long distance for a while, and then we got married because I was miserable without her. And we're kind of second chancers, We got married a little bit late, and so living in 2 places at the time was pretty easy, We lived in Austin, Texas, and then Campbell River. And it was 1 month in the summer, and then it was 2 months, and then it was 3 months. And right before the lockdowns, I said, we were walking on the Quinsam River, and it was really beautiful, and saw a bear on the other side, and all these people were being really respectful, even the kids that were out, very respectful of nature here. And I said, "Baby, why are we leaving?" And she's like, "Well, you got to go back to Austin." I said, "No, I got the solo career now. I can live anywhere." She's like, "But you'll miss the scene?" I was like, "No, I'll get it on the road. I'll get plenty." Because it used to be that I would come up here just for her to visit family and me to be with her alone and to write. So it became home more than Austin. And yeah, so we've lived here full time since 2020.
Fresh air.
Oh man, it's funny. I joke with my wife. She thinks it's a little silly sometimes about I love the air, you know. And when I come over the mountains in the Pacific Northwest, it changes.
It's
significantly.
the smell of the ocean and the moisture in the air.
Everything about it.
Your skin.
It's kind of cleansing. And somebody who's been landlocked their whole life, as you can tell from songs like Alone at Sea, it's crept into my writing, whether I like it or not, because you kind of, you know, write about what you know. At least I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I write characters too, but you know.
The ocean gets you. For me, growing up here, you know, I always want to be around the water, no matter wherever.
I'm a calmer person now. Believe it or not. People know I'm pretty driven. I have a pretty extensive work schedule. I tour a lot.
So the amount that you fly now and stuff, that's increased since you've become this side of the border?
Yeah, I definitely, because you got to get off the island, and you either take a hopper, you know, to get to Vancouver, and then you can go anywhere, or you go down to Comox and get on a bigger plane. And either way, I can't really go anywhere without giving it like a full day. And I also have to like give an extra day on top of that because I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, it could be really, really great weather. But I've learned my lesson the hard way. And in about a year's time, I got held up 3 times for a full day. Once for snow, once because they didn't have enough air traffic controllers. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll stay. And then once because of a crew issue. But you know, it's worth it to live in a place that, to me, feels a lot like paradise. You know,
the way the political climate in our 2 countries.
You know, that's something that I'm learning to live with as well. I mean, I joke about being a man of 2 countries, and there are many, many, many things that I try to be a little bit of an ambassador for. When somebody says something that's not too knowledgeable about Canada, I'm sure you've heard a million times, oh, I live on Vancouver Island. Oh, I love Vancouver. Or, you know,
yeah.
Oh,
or Victoria Island.
Everybody, yeah. And they say Victoria Island. There actually is a Victoria Island. It's way north and it's huge, you know, and I don't know if anybody even lives on it. But yeah, Victoria Island, we hear a lot too. But then stuff like that, you know. So much so that I'm going to be playing this weekend, or the next weekend, at a place called Saxon Pub. And I'm sad that I'm not here for Canada Day. So we're inviting all of there's a group in Austin called Canadians in Austin. And they get together and they watch hockey and do stuff and whatever, curling or I don't know. But and my wife was a member of the group when she got on the group when she lived there with me, and so we're inviting them all to my Saturday night show at this place I like to play called the Saxon Pub. We're going to celebrate Canada Day at my show.
Maybe Sue Foley and Lindsay Beaver will show
up
there.
Kim Deschamps. We have many Canadians in Austin, and even though I don't live there now, I'm still back there 3 or 4 times a year. 4 times this year. Yeah.
Throughout Texas. Well, you want to play us another song?
Sure. I'll play one that's. I was going to play one. I hope you don't mind me playing something kind of down and slow and bluesy. This is a song that I actually wrote here on the island and recorded on the island. It's also going to be on the new album, but it's a little bit high for a stool. Came home one day and I heard this bird going, and that was like the bird song, you know. And all of a sudden, I started whistling back and forth with the bird. And I was like, man, that's kind of a melody. And I walked inside my house and I grabbed my guitar and went. I was like, oh, it's kind of bluesy. So I went. But out on 9th Avenue, I bet he knows a thing or two. In the cool shade of a lazy dogwood tree, you hear it in his lonesome tune, long stretch shadow of the afternoon, and a taste of everything wild and free. Southern flying away, soon I'll be far from this sleepy northern sea. Southern flying away. Evening when the tide is high, strolling with her by my side, and every turn a perfect work of art. When I see the world through her brown eyes, curtains open on a new sunrise, the myth that sings straight into my heart. Southern flying away, soon I'll be far from this sleepy northern sea. Southern flying away. Southern flying away, soon I'll be far from this sleepy northern sea. Southern flying away, soon I'll be far from this sleepy northern sea. Southern flying away.
Thank you.
You are very welcome, my friend.
So I see behind you, you have a guitar that's named after you.
Yeah. This red guitar here, some people will say, oh, you invented a guitar. And I didn't really invent a guitar. I took a bunch of things that were on other guitars and smushed them together. So I like to say I designed it. And basically it's a lap steel electric guitar that you can stand up and play. Everybody asked me to play dobro, which is the one that's got the hubcap in it, that's mostly used for bluegrass. And I had played in some bluegrass bands and did that. They wanted me to play it in big rock bands. I remember playing one show with Ray Wylie Hubbard at the Austin Music Hall the year he won Song of the Year for a song called Conversation with the Devil. And I'm playing with this full band and I couldn't hear anything. The technology wasn't so good for amplifying them. Now they can do it pretty well. But I stumbled into the idea. I went to a luthier, fancy name for a guitar builder.
In Austin?
Actually in Wimberley, Texas, a guy named Tony Nobles. And I said, what I want you to do is I want you to build me something that has like a dobro body, but a lap steel neck, but electric guitar parts. because then I could just plug it through my amp the same way I would a Telecaster or any other electric guitar, and I can hear it, and I can put a little distortion or a little wah-wah or whatever on it. And I come to find out later that year, I go to this festival with Ray, and right after us is this band called the Campbell Brothers.
Oh.
And the Campbell Brothers are from a tradition that's sort of, a lot of people know Robert Randolph, excuse me, and but he came from this entire school of gospel churches, the Keith Dominion and the House of God churches in Rochester, New York, and in Florida, where steel guitar is the soloing instrument throughout the entire thing.
Sacred steel.
Sacred steel. Yeah, that's exactly right. And the Campbell Brothers were the first I heard, and at the moment I heard these steel guitars with distortion and wah-wah and just singing and gospel tunes, I just walked straight over to the CD tent and I bought everything they had.
I saw one year when Del McCoury band was here, and it was the Lee Boys, and they did the gospel. It's just such a contrast in music, the bluegrass guy and the sacred steel, but man, they were
it's really beautiful.
So inspired by each playing.
Yeah, so my 2016 album is called Soul Slide, and it's a mix of that stuff and really kind of showcases the plank guitar. When I go out and I play live with the band, I play a lot on the plank, maybe 2/3 of the show, and then I play a little on electric guitar and a little bit on piano. Sometimes. I'm still working on that. But the acoustic show, I found some guitars that kind of fill the bill, that have a square neck, that sound a little bit woodier than a dobro, But it is kind of cool. I can't remember if it was Gerf Morlix or it was Ray Wiley who named it the plank, and they're like, you have to call it the plank. And now a bunch of people are playing them. There's a guy in a jam band out of Michigan who's kind of buddy with Jack White, and he plays really good. And then there's another kid who plays with Parker McCullum, and he's out playing a plank guitar in stadiums. And it's really, really cool to hear how they do different things with it, and things that I never would have thought of. And they even like put it in the albums. They'll put like, Will Knack, the plank,
nice.
And that's pretty cool.
You did a project with Doug Cox?
I've done a couple of different things. We wrote a tune. I know he put one on his latest record with the name escapes me. Yeah, thank you, Linda McCrae. Oh, she's so great. I was new to her when I came to Canada, and she's fantastic. The year that I played Music Fest, I guess that was last year before last. Yeah, last year. Linda was so good. But Doug, we did some writing together, and he produced a show that was all Woodstock.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to play Richie Havens and Jimi Hendrix and Sly and the Family Stone and Janis Joplin songs. So that was pretty fun. And he does a lot of themed shows at the church house over there in Courtenay, and it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
And then we also, one time, because our schedules don't match up, we're both very, very busy, we went all the way up to 100 Mile.
That's right. Yeah. So today, what do you have in the fire?
Oh man,
today?
That's really good that you asked, because I'm not always the best at self-promotion. I do have a new album out. It's the first, it's coming out. The first full-length studio band album since 2018. I've done a couple of EPs, but first full-length band album will come out September 29th on Blue Corn Music. It's a great label. It's nice to have a label behind me, a really good label. They do Ruthie Foster and lots of other friends of mine. They do a really good job. So I'm excited about that. I recorded it with a guy named Colin Linden, who I'm sure around here doesn't need much.
All the Canadians know who he is.
Yeah, no kidding. I went and recorded at his studio in Nashville. I really wanted to try, for the first time, to be produced. I wanted to just worry about good songs and good performances. And I love the way his records sound, whether it's Blackie and the Rodeo Kings are his, or the stuff he does for Bruce Coburn's. I love the overall sound of his records. And I said, with this particular batch of songs, I think he'll do a really good job. And gotta say, he really did a good job.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm excited about that.
In a couple months, it'll be.
Yeah, not too long. I'm sure they're going to be putting out singles. Nowadays, it's like half the record's going to be out before the record comes out. But, well, maybe a little bit. But that album's very different than anything I've ever done. He really leaned into me playing acoustic guitar and acoustic lap steel and a couple songs on piano. So when I go out, it's great. You know, I have enough records now that I can really pick and choose the songs that people love and have had for a long time. So.
Nice. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you for coming in.
My sincere pleasure. I think it's really great that this is happening here in Campbell River, and that local musicians could come in and talk about what they're doing with somebody who's knowledgeable about music and have some fun, who's a big supporter of music as well. And yeah, man, thank you.
Thank you.
It's got to take us out, huh?
Jeff's going to take us out.
Well, it might take a
moment.
To no end. Here, I'll just, careful. I'll do this instead. I'll do a song that I wrote about a house I used to live in that I am really happy I don't live there anymore. Well, the floorboard's creaking, I think it's gonna give. Oh, and the tin roof's leaking, but it's where I have to live. The pipes, they are bursting and belching from the tongue, and it seems that the worst thing is yet to come. But in all of my hatred and despise for this place, well, I'd rather be in here than out in the rat race. This world is too big for me, I am too small, afraid of my shadow. I only crawl into the cellar that stinks of rotten mold. It's dark, dim, and dingy, on a sight to behold. Well, the window's broken, so everyone can see the mess that is me. I had a stranger knock upon my own front door. She reached for the handle, well, it fell down to the floor. I tried to hide my embarrassment and shame, but it's falling apart, and there's no one left to blame. Some things I think time will never erase. The cold smell of fear and a stone horror face. As she fell through the wall, I knew it was there. She decided she would never be coming back again. And you know I don't need company, oh, I'd rather be alone. The lines have been down for years, why bother with a phone? Well, the curtains are torn, so everyone can see the mess that is me. Yeah. I could take one step away from what I call home, but I was never born to ramble. I never wanted to roam. I never get letters or check my mail. In the portraits they have fallen from rusted nails, and I'm reminded of advice an old friend had to give. He said, if you don't take care of home, where the hell you gonna live? Well, the window's broken, so everyone can see the mess that is me.